Hey there everyone, it is September the 29th, it's a Tuesday, and wanted to come to you and talk to you about the national debt and the interest on the national debt. I have some facts and some figures. I've created some charts I'm going to show you just a little bit that could probably make your hair curl. So without further ado, let me introduce these charts to you and kind of talk about each one. I've got 4 charts coming up. And I've got government projections and projections based on some information I have out there as well. It's all out on the internet, so I'll post as many of those links as I possibly can on the info bar. So here's the first chart. So as you can see here, we have the first chart, which is your tax revenue minus your tax outlays, basically your deficits. And as you can see, for the last 10 years, we had a little bit of a surplus in the dot-com era, and we have still steadily declined since then. You may wonder why there's been a rise from 2004 to 2007, and basically with the cheap money, things like that. Basically it was debt financed is essentially what that is. So that's why the increase there. So on this next chart, we've got government projections. This is straight from the government. As you can see, from 2008 to present year 2009, they are expecting a drop of about almost $2 trillion in deficit, and this is including some of the TARP money that's going to be spent and things like that. And then they expect, of course, 2010, 2011 to start to increase in the form of tax revenues. They expect the turnaround to occur. As you continuously hear in the media, we have the green sprouts are everywhere, so that's where that's coming. So in this chart, what I wanted to do was illustrate the tax receipts that the federal government gets from us, and the interest payments that are being paid on the national debt. These figures are actually from the government. So this is for 2010. That's basically for fiscal year 2010 budget, which was passed by Congress and made up by our President Obama. And the numbers that you see, the blue bars, are actually the tax receipts. These numbers are in the billions. And then the red bars represent the interest payments on the national debt, all again, of course, in billions. So what I did for 2009, since of course we're kind of halfway, or at least toward the end of 2009, as of August 2009, according to the Treasury Department, our interest expense is already $368 billion. That's just payments on our interest, guys. So if you extrapolate and hope that there's no increases or anything, at the current rate, we should be close to $700 billion by the end of this year, and that's illustrated by the red bar in 2009. 2010, they're expecting tax receipts to increase again. I guess green shoots are here, which is just amazing, and I'll illustrate in the next slide. There's definitely lots of information out there which would indicate that tax receipts are down quite a bit more than what the federal government is stating, and again, that's in their own websites and things like that, and just straight from the Treasury itself. But as you can see here, if we just extrapolate with these conservative numbers, again using government numbers, the interest on the national debt should be close to approaching almost $1 trillion in 2010. This will probably be almost the number one, if not the number 2 expense next to the national debt, not including Social Security. But this should be the number 1 or number 2 expense in 2010 if these trends still hold. So here's my estimates, guys. As you can see here, it's vastly different what the government is stating. According to Entrepreneur Magazine, which gets its information from the federal government, and lots of other financial publications are saying exactly the same thing. Federal tax receipts are down as of June 2009, down $350 billion so far. So we don't even know what the new numbers are. Personal revenues are down for personal taxes, and we're down about 21%. And here's the kicker, guys. Corporate tax revenue, 57% reduction from last year. 57%. So you know what that means. They're going to be laying off a lot more people because of reduction in revenue. So basically, I'm using a very conservative number of about 35%, just based on that information alone. And so you can see here, that's where I get these fairly decent reductions in tax revenues. So with the reduction of tax revenue, I kind of did a logarithmic expectation of our borrowing to increase as well to fill in the gap. And as you can see here, that, and also, and here's another thing too, guys. Did not even include Obamacare. I did not include any future TARP money, bank bailouts, things like that. This is just based on declining tax revenues. And as you can see here, according to my calculations in 2010, we're going to get a point where we can't even pay the national debt any longer. I mean the interest on national debt. So if these tax revenues continue to decline, which I can't see why we wouldn't, there will become a time that we can't pay the interest on the national debt. So at some point in the near future, there's going to be a point at which the tax receipts that they get from us as a people, as the citizens, are going to equal the interest payments on the national debt. So what will happen at that point? Well, we will default. We will be insolvent. The United States government will be bankrupt. That's what happens to companies. You know, if the companies can no longer pay just the interest on their debt, they're done. There's nothing else you can do. And remember, guys, the numbers I use here do not include Obamacare, do not include any extensions of TARP or any increases in TARP money, do not include banker bailouts, do not include any other bailouts that may be coming. So these numbers that I showed you are fairly conservative numbers, you know. So a couple things have to happen. A, they have to increase taxes dramatically to save us, right? And there's maybe some evidence of that happening. Or B, we're going to have to print money. You're going to have to continue printing money just to fund the government. And there's a lot of evidence of that as well. You know, you talk about these U.S. Treasuries. You know, I think the last Treasury a couple of weeks ago, they're saying there's strong demand for it. You know, the Treasury auctions have been offering anywhere from $50 to $100 billion a week. Now annualize that. You're talking $3 or $4 trillion a year. I mean, and that's not including the tax receipts, right? So they know. They have to know tax receipts are going to be a lot less than what they figured. And so who are coming to these Treasury auctions and buying up, right? Who is it? Let me ask you this. If you're a banker and I just presented this plan to you, saying, hey, this is my company and this is what's going on with my revenue, would you buy it? I mean, would you not buy it? Would you buy bonds? Would you loan money? Heck no. It wouldn't be a bank on the planet that would do it. So who is buying these treasuries? Well, there seems to be a lot of indication that our Federal Reserve System is buying these treasuries, guys, through, you know, it may not be the Federal Reserve directly, but through currency swaps and other interesting financial vehicles. Our Federal Reserve System is basically buying this debt. So we are basically printing money. We have to be. I mean, there's just no other choice. The Chinese would certainly buy some to keep their investments whole. Because they sure wouldn't want the dollar to drop precipitously, because they sure don't want to lose the value of their assets. But we are printing money, guys, and there seems to be no end to it. So again, I think you guys need to prepare. I think there's definitely it's a point where the government is either going to repudiate its debt, and we just may not have a choice. So. And then what happens after that? I don't know. This is definitely a new area of uncharted waters here. So anyway, guys, just prepare. You know, get food, get storable foods. I would get gold and gold coins and silver, things like that. I would also get ways of perhaps of defending yourself, because again, I'm not too worried about the government coming in and taking guns or anything crazy like that. I'm more worried about your neighbors who find out that you do have some food. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this time. I hope you've enjoyed my presentations. Please rate, comment, subscribe to my channels. I'll certainly have some more information coming out as details come out. And just take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of each other. Look after your neighbors, get together with like-minded people, and get this information out as soon as possible, okay? Thanks, guys, and hope everyone does well out there. Take care now. Bye-bye.